Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Jason from Dropshipping University. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how you can get set up with a wholesale contract or a wholesale agreement today with your supplier. I'm going to walk you through all of the steps that you have to do, all of the paperwork that you're going to have to fill out. It's not too much. It's not that much of a daunting task, but once you see somebody else do it, hopefully you'll be able to replicate that on your own. That's the whole point of this video. I'm not going to be showing you guys how to find a wholesale supplier. I've already done that in a past episode, so I'm going to link that above. Go ahead and check that out first if you haven't seen that episode. But today we're really going to be teaching how to get set up with a wholesale supplier, get all of the paperwork that you need to be onboarded, and then from there you can start drop shipping from your supplier. So if this is something that interests you guys, go ahead and hit that like button. Comment below if you have any questions. I do answer them all myself. Without further ado, we're going to get started. Okay guys, we're inside my computer here and I already have the wholesale supplier or a wholesale supplier pulled up on my computer. Again, if you guys want to know how to find wholesale suppliers, I have linked it below for you guys for your convenience. And in this episode, I'm just going to simply go through a wholesale supplier's website, figure out how to contact them, and then how to get a wholesale contract, get onboarded properly. And I'm going to show you how to do that from start to finish. Okay, so this is Healthy Harvest. They're a hydroponics and horticulture specialist supply store. And as you can see right at the top, you can see a phone number. Phone numbers are always good. I highly suggest you guys contact your supplier at least one time on the phone to familiarize yourself with the business. You want to actually put a name to the face, or so to speak. You want to talk to a real person and understand what this company is all about. And honestly, this is the best way to get a relationship right off the bat with your supplier. I always call the wholesale supplier first before messaging through email or another communication means. So as we go through this supplier's website, we always want to check out the bottom, the footer section at the bottom of the page on their homepage. Almost every single website, you're going to see something that looks at least somewhat like this. They're all kind of laid out a little different, but you'll usually see a bunch of links. And right here, we see quick links, categories, and information. It's actually laid out pretty logically, so I like that. We have a contact us page, and this is going to be a place where you're going to immediately find some great contact information. So as you can see, this is their direct phone number, 1-855-GROWERS, and you can figure that out on your own. And info@healthyharvest.net. That is going to be an email that you can actually send emails to. So if you really don't feel comfortable talking to somebody on the phone, I would at least message them through email, and that way you can get at least a good relationship with them. It won't be as good of a relationship as if you were on the phone and talked to somebody and actually introduced yourself, but you can email them, and that's usually how I communicate with them over time. It's just a lot better because there's a paper trail, obviously. So here we go. We can see information about their warehouses, their offices. And at the bottom, there's a contact form, and that's usually a great place to get an initial communication with this supplier. Also, we can see down here, there is a wholesale inquiries link, and this is really one of those things that you're going to see on most legitimate wholesale suppliers' website. It's separate from that contact us page. This is a wholesale inquiries page, so they automatically know that you're asking about wholesale and you want to get set up as a authorized distributor or authorized retailer of their products. So right here at the top, it says we offer wholesale prices for online and physical stores worldwide, offering our full online catalog and many other items not listed, wholesale hydroponics equipment and supplies to all states in the United States and all countries in Latin America and parts of South America. So for wholesale inquiries, please fill out the form below, and all you have to do is give them your name, your email address, your phone number, company name, and you're going to just put in some comments or questions. And I would just say a real basic template, make a real basic template, say, hey, my name is whatever your name is from whatever your company is, and say that you're interested in reselling their products. I would also say something, if you're going to be trying to sell these on Amazon or eBay, I would suggest that you also mention that in your initial email with them. It's one of those things though, that if you talk to them on the phone, it's usually a little better to do that, because if they don't want you to resell on Amazon or eBay and they're really strict about that policy, they're going to let you know, and you can kind of gauge that on the phone talking to somebody where they're at with that. Some of these companies kind of steer on the side of caution and they don't really want you to sell on marketplaces, but some of the companies are okay with it. It just takes a little bit of convincing and a little bit more communication, and that's the best way to do it is on the phone. So I always suggest to do that. So once you fill that out, you just click submit form and you should be good to go. And usually the next page will say something like, we will contact you back within 24 to 48 hours. Generally, these wholesale suppliers have an entire dedicated team of dealing with applications and then onboarding you and designating you a personal rep. So there's a lot of reps at these companies or representatives, and they get designated to accounts. So if you're a new account member, you'll get a new rep, and that rep will be your go-to guy or your go-to girl, and they'll give you their phone number, their direct email, and those are the people that you're going to contact in case of any problems with your orders or returns. That is going to be the person that you want to be most familiar with, okay? All right, so here is a screenshot that I took of my first email that I got back from this company, healthyharvest.com. And as you can see, I'm going to just make this a little bigger for you guys. It says, hello, Jason, per our conversation, attached is your wholesale application. Obviously, he's talking about the earlier phone conversation that we had. Please fill out and reply to this email. Thank you again for your inquiry. We look forward to fulfilling your orders. Kindest regards, Gabriel. So that guy just sent me back kind of a scripted message, but it was in response to an inquiry that I made. I made a wholesale inquiry. So either if you make it on the phone or if you submit a wholesale inquiry on this page, you're going to get something along those lines, and that's going to spark or ignite the actual process of getting a wholesale contract. So that's really what we're looking for, is to draw that communication with the wholesale rep from their company. Okay, so I went ahead and obviously I filled out all of the information, but where is that information? This is where we're looking at right here. And he sent me a Microsoft Word document. Sometimes they'll send you a PDF version of it. Sometimes they'll send you a DocuSign version of the wholesale application. And so it just kind of depends on the company and what they decide is best for them. I always like to fill it out in person, and I like to do a DocuSign so that I have two copies of it. I want to have a digital copy of it and I want to have a physical copy of it. It's probably the best way to go about doing this. And then once you fill it out, you're going to send it back to that rep. So here we are. This is going to be what a typical wholesale application looks like, and they do not all look the same. However, the framework is the same. So as you can see in the top part, we have the retailer/customer account information. This is going to be you giving them all of your addresses, your business address, your legal company name, stuff like that, your website. So let's go through this right now. So you'd have a legal company name, and that's going to be what your LLC is actually named with the Secretary of State. Your DBA or alias, so that could be your store or storefront name. So if you're on eBay, that would be like your username, your Amazon username, or if you use a different name from your LLC. So if you're doing business as a completely different company than what your LLC is, my LLC is actually the same as my DBA in this instance. Although you should list all of your DBAs, that's something that you should do. So your address is going to be your business address, and your email, you want to use your business email or the email that you have on file that you keep all of your wholesale contracts in. You want to keep this all condensed into one place so it's easily accessible in the case that you need it. Okay, fax numbers, trust me, fax numbers are a thing of the past. A lot of times these companies have been around for a while, so they still have fax machines for whatever reason. I usually just leave that blank. A website, if applicable. Some companies do require you to have a website, and in the future, I'm going to talk about putting up shell websites, which is just having a website there for the impersonation that you actually do have a real website that you're actively selling those products in that niche from that supplier. That's going to be something I'm going to talk about in the future. But if you don't have a website and they require you to have a website, you're going to kind of be in a rough spot here because you have to give them some information about a website, a domain, and that's where you're going to put right there. So type of business is going to be corporation, LLC, partnership, or sole proprietor. I'm an LLC, so I would just check that off. Sales channels, and this is really important. They want to know where you're going to be selling their products. And I always tell them, and I want to be straight up about this as much as possible, I do sell your products on eBay, Amazon, Etsy, on third-party marketplaces. However, that is not the main sales channel that I'm going to be reselling your products. That is a supplemental sales channel. The main sales channel will be on my website, and that usually works with them. And some companies are just straight up okay with you selling on third-party marketplaces, but it's really important that you ask and be really transparent about it from the start. So I would just put here online. I'm not a wholesaler, I'm not a distributor, and I don't have a retail store. That's usually brick and mortar. Tax exempt, yes, you're always going to be tax exempt, and I'm going to go over this real quick. With a wholesale supplier, because it's intuitively understood or by default understood that you're reselling their products, that you should not be taxed a sales and use tax. Like if you were buying from Walmart, Amazon, Home Depot, those are retail suppliers, and it's kind of understood that if you're buying off their platform, then you're responsible for the sales and use tax upon purchasing their product. And then you have to go and actually get tax exempt with their tax exempt department. With wholesale suppliers, it's actually much easier. Most of these wholesale suppliers just use something called a uniform sales and use tax. You can look this up on Google. This is what it looks like. And in each state name right here, Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, all you're going to put is no nexus. No nexus, okay? And most of these wholesale suppliers will accept that. Some of them are actually even easier, where all you have to do is upload your resale license number. With Healthy Harvest in this situation, as you can see, they don't ask anywhere for us to upload a uniform sales and use tax. It's a multi-jurisdiction form. This is commonly called a multi-jurisdiction form, and they're not asking for us for that for us. So all we would have to do is give them our resale license number and just let them know that we're tax exempt. Okay, that's all you'd have to do. And of course, we're going to be tax exempt if we're reselling their products. And right down here, they're going to ask some more questions about public access. Maybe if you have forklifts, can you accommodate large trucks? And obviously, they're asking those questions for if you have a big storefront, brick and mortar storefront. So I always say no to those things. Now, when you get to page 2, you're going to see something called trade references, and that's going to be right here. And that's going to be on virtually every single wholesale application. You're going to see a section called trade references. And this is usually so that their company can look you up and decide if you are eligible for net terms. And net terms is pretty much like working on credit. So if you have a net 45 account, if you get approved for a net 45 account, that means when you get their products, when you buy their products, you can take 45 days to pay it off. And that way you're cash flow positive. Now, a lot of traditional brick and mortar retail stores operate that way so that they don't have to put out the money right up front. But as drop shippers, since we're already making the money from the sale and just applying it to purchasing the product and then getting it sent out, we don't really have to worry about that because we're already operating cash flow positive. So I always tell them I'm not looking to get net terms. I'm going to pay upon receipt or pay right when I put in the order. I'm going to put in my credit card number. So they don't really need the trade references. If they insist on getting trade references, then just put in some past companies that you've worked with, past wholesale distributors perhaps that you've worked with, put in their name, their address, their phone number. Most likely they're not even going to look them up. Again, this is for net terms specifically. This part right up here where it says names of owners, partners, or corporate officers, that's going to be if you have a partnership, a 2-person LLC, or some type of legal entity where you're working with other people, right? You're not the only shareholder of the company. Whereas with my company, I'm a single member LLC. So I would just put in my name and I would put in owner right here in my address, cell phone number, and then authorized purchasers. That would be if you have employees that are authorized to purchase items on your behalf. They want to know about that. Usually if you have a virtual assistant doing it, they're just logging into your wholesale portal anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I wouldn't even put them as authorized purchasers. And then they might have a couple of other questions that are specific to their wholesale contract. And down here at the last page, you're always going to see the terms, and you want to read through the terms. Don't just gloss over them, read through them, because if you end up finding out that there's some terms in the agreement that are not beneficial to your business, you want to know about them. That's a basic wholesale contract, a basic wholesale agreement. That's what it's going to look like. This is the application. And once it's approved, if they have an underwriting team or if they just, look this over, I don't know how all of the companies do it. They're not all the same. They're going to usually take 24 to 48 hours to look this over. If everything checks out, they're going to give you another email, and that email generally will have the whole onboarding package. The onboarding package might include a wholesale portal login, temporary login. You can change your password obviously afterwards. It'll give you access to Dropbox perhaps, where they might have their media package. So that would have their images, their videos, all of their promotion videos, all of that information that you need to understand about their products. If you're reselling their products, they want you to know exactly the specs on the units. They might have watermarked images on their website. So if they have watermarked images on their website, they would give you a media package that has non-watermarked images, stuff like that. So you're going to look out for that onboarding package subsequent to getting approved for your application. All right. So I also want to show you guys what a bad wholesale contract or bad wholesale application looks like. And we're also going to go through this exercise on another supplier's website right here. And they're called Green Planet Limited Inc. Okay. And they say the world's premier hydroponic wholesaler. We're going to scroll down to the bottom like we just did. You can see all these brands that they carry. And here's the footer. This is going to be your bread and butter for going where you need to go and sending out the information that you need to send. We're going to look for the Contact Us page. I always like to look at the About Us page. Contact Us page. And as you can see here, they're a Canadian wholesaler. But when I called them, and this was actually about 8 months ago, when I called them up on the phone, they have a fulfillment center in Washington State. They also have a fulfillment center in Canada, British Columbia, I believe. So they have Canadian market and US market. I would have been a US customer of theirs. So that's how, we would have proceeded. And here we go. We can see a general info at company name right here, toll-free number. And we are going to look for a wholesale application or a wholesale inquiries link, which we do not see. So in a situation like this, where we don't see a direct link to a wholesale inquiry section of the website, what we're going to do is we're going to call them up on the phone. We're going to actually ask them legitimate questions on the phone, pertinent questions on the phone. Can I resell this product on Amazon and eBay? If so, what are your MAP pricing policies? All of those things, and I can talk about that in another video as well. But once I reached out to Green Planet, I talked to a woman on the phone. She sent me back information, and I have a screenshot for you guys right here. Her name was Samantha. She said, "Good afternoon." I'm going to make this a little larger for you. She said, "Good afternoon. As per our phone conversation earlier, attached is an account application." So that's really interesting. They don't have that application on their website. And as I said before, not all of these companies are going to have applications directly on their website. Along with the completed application, please include a copy of your business license. Once we have this, we can continue with the dropship agreement and your price list. Please let me know if you have any questions and enjoy your day. Please note, as an e-commerce account, you will be strictly prepay. As such, you can leave the credit section of the application blank. And that's what we talked about earlier with the trade references and the net terms. They're right off the bat. They already telling me, don't worry about that section because you're an e-commerce account. And I told her on the phone, I'm just looking to sell your products on the internet. And they even have a dropship agreement. I'm going to show you guys what their dropship agreement looks like. I would say about 60 to 70% of these companies will also give you an accompanying dropship agreement, and that is going to tell you if there's an extra fee to dropship. Most of the time there's a small fee, $2 to $4, and that's to cover the cost of their labor, their packaging, their time, and it makes sense. A small fee, sometimes it's a percentage-based fee, sometimes it's a flat dollar amount fee. I like the flat dollar amount fees personally, and it'll also tell you that you're going to be responsible for the shipping cost of the product, etc. So I'm going to pull that up first, and here it is. Green Planet and they have their information here, and it says Dear, and this was my company name. I obviously omitted that for reasons. So they say this letter serves as a formal reseller agreement between your company and Green Planet Wholesale Limited, whereby Green Planet Wholesale Limited will drop ship to your customers for $20 fee. It's a $20 fee per order. Okay, that is outrageous. That's astronomical. That's the highest fee I've ever seen, $20 per order. Unless they're giving you the products for super cheap and their product price points are in the hundreds, then there's no possible way that you could be profitable doing that. Okay, and that's one of the things I noticed with this company. Obviously, I didn't go through even wasting my time filling out the application because this was a non-negotiable fee. I asked her if it was negotiable. It was non-negotiable, $20 per order. How are you supposed to stay competitive when every single order you have coming through, you're paying an extra $20 to drop ship their product? It doesn't make any sense. But this is why you have to read this information, the drop shipping agreement and the terms in the wholesale contract. They say your company will also be responsible for all the shipping charges associated with each order, and your company must also adhere to MAP pricing, which allows them to sell at max 20% below MSRP. And then they go on to talk about liability for missing or damaged products, basically putting all the liability on me. These terms are not advantageous to any drop shippers. They also say any returns for the drop shipping customer has a required 15% restocking fee, and it's responsible for shipping back to Green Planet Wholesale Limited's location. So the reverse logistics on this are terrible. You're going to get hit with a 15% restocking fee. You have to pay the shipping charges even in a situation that maybe they messed up. So I don't want to deal with that in any way, shape, or form. I did not sign this. I did not date this. So you guys be on the lookout for anything that looks like this. If the terms are that bad, run far, far away. This is not going to be something that you can be profitable with. This is not a good company to drop ship from, even though they have a drop shipping program and even though they have dedicated e-commerce specialists. Does not mean that they're going to be a profitable company to work with. So just keep that in mind. If you guys like this video, go ahead and smash that like button. If you have any questions about getting onboarded with a wholesale supplier, just drop a comment below. I will answer every single question you guys have, and I hope you have a good one. I'll see you in the next one.